Alrighty guys, so I got a lot of questions about how to make these new plants for smaller mines and just a really nice beginner friendly explanation. So that's what we're going to be going through. So we've already built two really nice looking plants that look really clean, but this costs a lot. We started this entire mine with 100 million, so that there, and this here is around 70 million. So my goal is to stay under 200,000. I started at 29.6 flat. I made sure it was flat. So long as we don't dip below 29.4, we'll be alright. I've already gotten a good amount of what we need. I shouldn't need to purchase much more. And we're going to start with a big hopper. Which way is this facing? Okay, that way. So with this big hopper here, it has dual dumping spots. Oh wait, actually no, this is the wrong one. That's my bad. I wanted the single lane one. Whoopsie. Okay, purchase, conveyors. Yeah, I accidentally bought this one. I needed this one. So with this one, it's an extra wide dump. Where's the arrow at? I lost the arrow. There it is. Okay, I don't know why it went away. So this one is extra wide, but it only has one conveyor output on it, so it runs pretty decently. So after our hopper here, there's no surprise, we're going to put a trommel on, and I didn't get a conveyor up, so that is also going into the price here. So I like to raise it up a couple. I don't like the vertical stacks. You can save some money by using the vertical stacking ones though. I'm not a fan. Then we put our trommel right off of there. And actually, due to terrain, we're going to raise this up by just one more. This will make the sluice run a lot easier. So we have that there. That's our trommel, and then for our trommel output, this is all kind of junky stuff, or if you're into bedrock or iron, it'll come out here. Because this is a budget build, not many people are going to be in the iron or in the coal, and so for this sake, we are just going to slap a storage right onto it. And then our sluice run. So our sluice run here, I like to do it a little bit special on these plants. I already had this trace in my inventory. Here we go. I like to, oh, I forgot to build it. Oh, I already did build it to grid, I guess. Okay. So if we had that there, and if you want to make it look nicer, you can put a hopper thing on it. I'll do it since we probably will be a little bit short. So we have the hopper there, and if we just line it up underneath of our little trommel there, it'll come out nicely there. We'll have to put it up one, put this back on that, and then we have our sluice run there. So it comes off nice and easy there. And then we have the whole power side of things. So the downside of doing this is we have to use two inputs. We have to put one off of there, and then we have to put one off of here. For this sake, we're going to be using 2x inputs, so this will double the speed of our conveyor lines. There are multiple different ones that you can use. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. For the sake of the cost effectiveness of it, we're going to be using the 2s, but if you're starting with more money, you could use 3s or 5s, but that will affect the power side of things. So for this, we're going to be using just the regular generator here. And with it, this is the 2200 kilowatt. You can also have a 1600 or a 2800, or if you start with more money, you can use the wind turbines and the solar panels. We'll do this in multiple stages, so as the video progresses, the plants will get more expensive. So with this really basic here, we're just going to need a single power pole. This is the 3600 power pole, as there is a 600, 1400, and 3600. This is the max capacity that they can take. If they take any more, they'll pop, and you'll have to replace them. So because we're using the 2200 generator, we need the 3600 pylon to be able to handle it. So we're going to take our power cable, look there, look to there, then we're going to do the same thing on our speed inputs. We positioned everything like this, so we don't need any extra power poles. It doesn't look pretty, but it does the job cost effective. If you want to look pretty, place some more power poles if you can afford it. But again, this is the budget build side of things, so we don't really want that. And then the sluice run, we're actually not going to need a cell point on it, or a storage on it. It'll store right into it, or you can use the Washplant. And a nifty way to deal with everything, I don't have any more ups, and we still have some more money left, so we'll do this. We will take the conveyor ups, which is at the bottom, and a quest building cell point. This is a really nice trick to get rid of waste material by just simply placing a cell point underneath of the waste line, so all the waste dirt and tailings and crap will just auto cell for you. You don't even have to handle it. So now the last thing to get is fuel. We have a bit conveyors left over, an additional storage if we wanted it, and money for fuel still. So we'll go ahead and look up some fuel. We can get 20 grand worth of fuel, which is about 40 barrels. You could get a little bit more. And we add our fuel. We turn our generator on. Then we go to our control panel, turn that on. And then we go to this one and turn this one on. And the whole unit load for this is 357 on this line. And altogether, it's only 800 kilowatts. So realistically, you could use the smaller generator and save some more money here. Since it's 800, we could use the 1600 to save about an extra 7 grand. In doing so, we'll still have to use the 3600 pylons. Didn't really think that through with the size difference in the pylons. But yeah, so that's a really cheap, affordable build that is 194 grand for this entire thing. So if you start with 400k, you can make this plant and then get you guys some equipment to run it. And this will be a really nice hopper as it can be dumped in by everything. And we'll throw in some material real quick just so you guys can see. Grab some pay dirt, throw it in, just hit consume. Or you can just dump straight in with all the equipment. So go into the trommel and everything will come out the bottom lines that's only dirt in it. And it'll go right through our sluice and then right down into our sell point. And if you look at the money, it's going up. And nothing's getting lost. It's all going through nice and easily. And it ran pretty quick because, like I said, we put a 2x on it. So it's running at 60 meters a second worth of fuel. And that's it. And check our sluice. We got some money to pay back for additional things. Now, if we wanted to get more expensive or higher end about things, you could obviously use this with the 2 system on it. And it would look something like these over here. So this is the regular 2 wide hoppers. These have a single input on the back with double outputs, so everything gets balanced across the 2 output lines. And then you can end up with something that looks more like these. These are a lot more expensive because I put on a lot of details and a lot of power things on them. But a lot of this can get simplified down. This plant is a lot more complicated than this one right here. So I did the basic thing that I showed you guys on the sluice runs where I just took them and dumped it wherever I wanted. I actually used a double dump on it, so it falls out of that line, which has some power things there, and this one falls onto this line because I didn't like the width of it. So to control the widths and lengths of everything, I used dumping rather than turns, but you could use turns if you wanted. And then out the front of the trommel, everything else dumps onto these lines, which goes away a little bit. Then through our coal shakers, down into another line. Again, you can put connection pieces on these. I didn't want to. It makes it a lot harder doing electrical over and over again, but it makes it really good at it. And then that falls down into a new hopper line, which goes through our jaw crusher to our cone crusher, which goes through our frothers, which these will separate gravel and tailings from all the nice materials, which we will then auto sell again, and then all the nice stuff will be put to storage. Just like that. I had the thing backwards once. That was my bad. So power. It's really, really important when you guys make these larger systems not to overload. There's a lot of common mistakes that I've been seeing. One of these is you are overloading the pylons and don't really know why. So if I were to turn, I believe, this one and this one on. Nope. Let me find it. There's one of these that's really close to being overloaded. Just gotta find the right combination of 2. This is one of them. So this line, I believe it'd be about this one. Nope. This one. Nope. I won't zoom it on. Here we go. So this line right here, it has a grid load of 3594 kilowatts. So this is the entire load on that whole line that it's powering, but its maximum is 3600. And if I were to look at this one, it's a good ways under. So if I were to put much more on that line that these are connected to, then this pole or somewhere along the pole or the whole line itself will pop. And that will essentially just break all of these pylons here. And you don't want that, so it won't run your equipment and then you're just going to waste money replacing them. So you got to make sure to divide up your lines. By dividing them up like I have on some of these, I don't need this many per se, but doing it after long sets of lines or big power spenders, it's good to just have it drop into a chute, because when you use a chute or a hopper, you're going to have to reset up some power and material multiplier things. What are they called? They are called power input speed multipliers. So every time you use a drop into a hopper, you're going to put another one of those on, which essentially separates the line, and that will make it so that you don't have to have too much power, and you can control that a lot nicer. Something else, don't put too much power onto one of these pylons. So these pylons will take 2 of the largest windmills, which totals up to 3,600, which is the exact amount that these can hold. So do not go over that limit, otherwise you will have a fun time popping lines left and right every time you hook it up. So make sure 2 max windmills or some weird combination to keep it under 3,600. Also, I found sometimes if it's too much of a load on the grid, it just simply won't turn on. So if you have a thing and every time you hit on, it just does nothing, the needle doesn't move like that or nothing, add more power or split up the line somewhere to add power. That is what I have found to be the problem in them. It doesn't really do nothing to show you that it's broken, it's just kind of broken. So make sure that you just add more power if it does nothing. And that is how you can really easily make beginner-friendly setups. So a cost-effective way, again, is just kind of have a single system with a nice hopper on it with very small amount of power. It is kind of expensive, but with machinery, if you start with 400K, you should be good. Or you can just hand mine or anything like that. And you can see on these, 3,600. These are generating 1,800 each. So just be really mindful of the amount of power that you're putting out and how much you put on your pylons, as that is going to be a huge problem for you if you overload things and you just won't have a running plant and you'll get really frustrated with it. I've seen that happen a lot lately, and so I just want to try and help out those that are really struggling still on the whole power aspect of everything and make sure that they're getting their plants running. Like I said, just make some split ups in it so that way the lines aren't solid one piece. Just make sure it's split so that way you can actually have a nice, decently sized plant that you like and enjoy, and that is relatively simple.